Thank you. All right. God, I never thought I'd be so nervous. Okay. Whenever I'm asked who I am, I say I'm a teacher. It's automatic. I've defined myself by what I do, by the job I've had at Portage Northern High School for the past 6 years, and it's a little scary to think about leaving this all behind me. I'm already in a fragile condition. See, I'm a brand new father with a 1-week-old son named Ethan. And something recently dawned on me. My son will grow up without ever knowing me as the teacher I've worked so hard to become. I knew I wanted to be a teacher even before I left for college, because before then, my 4 years in high school were torturous, filled with lots of self-hate, too many violent moments to remember, time in jail, and even embarrassing pictures of me getting kicked out of a local Burger King. Don't ask. But then during my senior year, I faced the most pivotal 3 months of my life when I lost 5 of my friends to suicide during this time. I wish I could say my family and friends are what held me together, but the distance between us was too great to make any difference. Looking back, I can now tell you what truly kept me alive, and that was writing. Writing poems I never planned to show to anyone, but I knew as I sat in the same seats you're in now that I would become an English teacher because I felt the power in words and passion in poetry. I wanted so badly to come back into a high school and do for my students what no one ever really did for me, and I wish I could say that's what I've done, but I have to be honest here. It's you. The students who have done this for me show me that every voice is valuable and that every classroom, every encounter with another human being is actually a chance to build family. But even more importantly, you have shown me that although I may not be in a school next year, I will still be me, and my son will have a father who is finally able to be the teacher he always was, even without a classroom to teach in. So now I'd like to share one last poem with you, not as a teacher, but simply as a student like you who is in need of a little reminder of what's really important before finally moving on. And I would have memorized it, but I was changing too many diapers. Here we go. I mean that. A wise man once said, no matter where you go, there you are. And just because there's a change in the scenery doesn't mean you've done anything to change your life. So to the graduating class of 2008, to those who plan to graduate years from now, and even to those who may never graduate at all, do just one thing. Go nowhere. At least until you find yourself. Even if you don't like what you see in the mirror, be yourself until you learn to love what you look like without a mirror to show you. Don't let a high school diploma get in the way of your education. Keep learning. Even if you learn the world really is flat and the universe really isn't expanding at all, it's just that we're shrinking. So be willing to admit when you're wrong, especially when you're young, because there is much you do not know. And even more so when you're married, because trust me, knowing you're right isn't worth the cost of making the person you love feel wrong. Sorry. Whew. Admitting your mistakes is the first step to making things right, and sometimes the only way to realize there is no one right answer to anything. Don't take the road less traveled. Instead, run through the middle of the forest with both eyes open and both arms outstretched like a child who will never give up on his belief that he can fly. But no matter what road you are headed down, know that your path does not ever need to be set in stone, because honestly, a pocket full of rocks will only help to weigh you down. Jump more often than you need to, even if you have no reason for it. Jumping is sometimes all we have to remind ourselves to get our head up in the clouds, so that when our knees have lost their bounce, at least we'll still remember what it means to soar. Call family as often as you can, even if you don't like them, not because they are your family, but because you need to learn to love the people in the world who are most like you. Love yourself. Even if he said he couldn't love you anymore when he walked out, don't be afraid to be angry. The most beautiful people in the world were not peaceful. They were passionate. So be passionate too. Not just about anything, but be passionate about other people's passions. We're all teachers and students in need of a little inspiration. The universe is your blackboard. Fill it with what you wish you knew when you were young. Be yourself. It isn't worth compromising the only thing you really have. You is all you've got, and in the end, It's all you'll ever have to give. Learn to love hugging, so no one feels awkward when they hug you back. Press your cheek against theirs long enough for them to know you mean it, and no slaps on the backs, guys. We all know you are a man, so why don't you be a real one instead and let your guard down so someone can feel the real you. Stop wearing the face you weren't born with and be happy with the birthmarks you've never liked. They are what will be remembered by your children when you're gone. Have children in your life. Even if you don't have any of your own, they are the real adults who can teach us that growing up takes more than just getting older. But don't be afraid to grow old, because to be honest, it's gonna happen anyway. And when you're older than most of the people around you, make them jealous that they aren't your age, that they don't have hair colored like moonlight and can't two-step to Soulja Boy at 80. Make them jealous that they'll never know what it was like when gas was only $4 a gallon. Be yourself as often as you can so that when the end is near, you won't have to regret the life you never started. But for now, for those of you who are excited to finally move on, or for those of you who are afraid you might never move out, know this: there is no destination. There is no other moment than right now, and there is nothing in this world you can control but one thing, and that's you. Everything else will fall in place. You see, there can be no real change out there until you first change something in here. So sometimes the road that will take you the farthest is the road that goes nowhere, because that is where you will find the one thing you've been looking for all this time. Yourself. Thank you.